Shalom, shalom. Kahalo, Yahbashim Yahushai, Bashim Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And salutation to the Akim pushing this word in truth and sincerity. I'm on my way to a friend's house, and I thought I'd just do a quick impromptu video on Christmas, because we're in that fa la 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 season. Well, we've just gone past the 25th, we're in the 26th now. But it seems like this Christmas spirit hasn't got the spirit about it no more, because they got this pestilence called Omicron, yeah, on the scene. They've had the CV-19, and you've had all these other so-called pestilence prior to the this new variant they're calling it, yeah. So it goes into the Babylon. This is the Babylonian Origins of Christmas by Henry Shepherd, 1871, and it says here, the Babylonian Origin of Christmas by Henry Shepherd. It says here, the origin of the Christmas tree is involved in deeper mystery. It seems certainly to have had a different source, which it has perhaps worthwhile here to be point out. It is to be noted that the Christmas tree is always a fir, and this custom is of remote antiquity. That means ancient times, yeah? The Christmas tree, now so common amongst us, was equally common in pagan Rome and pagan Egypt. And that's why we say, that's why the Bible says about the the Greco-Roman Empire and the origins of Egypt. So the Caucasian man is taken on the origins of Egypt, of Babylon, and of these ancient, ancient times, these so-called people of antiquity, like the Egyptians, the Babylonians. Yeah, so there's nothing new. All they're doing is regurgitating the customs of these ancients. Yeah, because you know the red man, the Edomites, they have no culture. You know what they say? They're culture vultures. They're living off of other people's cultures. Yeah, and it says here, equally common in pagan Rome and pagan Egypt. In Egypt, the tree was a palm tree. Remember, the Bible says that as the palm tree, right? And it says in Rome it was the fir. The palm tree denoted the pagan messiah as Baal Tamir, the fir referring to him as Baalberith. Okay, so it goes back to a deity called Baal. In other words, Satan. Baal is known as Satan in the Bible, yeah? Baalberith, yeah? Timar signifies the tree, signifies a palm tree, and Baal Tamar, the lord of the palm tree, and Baalberith, which is also one of the titles of the pagan messiah, signifying the lord of the covenant, okay, was almost identical with Baalberith, okay. Baalberith, which signifies the lord of the fir tree. It was just another instance of the jugglery of words by which the cunning priests of Chaldea, if you know about the Chaldeans, they were warlocks. They was into witchcraft and magic, and that's why the Lord told Abraham to come out of the city of Chaldees, yeah, to flee Chaldea, yeah. And it says, mystified the common people in order to further their own craft, witchcraft, that the word Baal Berith, the Lord of the covenant, was represented as Baalberith, the lord of the fir tree. Okay, so when you got these fir trees, these trees in your house, you are actually worshipping the deity Baalberith. Baal is a deity, a satanic deity. Okay, and the Lord said you should have no other gods before me. So all you Israelites who are practicing so-called participating in Christmas with the Christmas tree and all that, all those rituals, you're actually celebrating Satan. It's a form of Satanism. Okay, and it says here, hence the fir tree, because of the symbol of the Babylonian false Messiah. You see, so what it is, what do they say? The Lord was born on the 25th. No, that's Nimrod's birthday. That's another representation of the so-called Christmas tree. Semiramis and Tammuz, the phallus. So people with Christmas trees in their house, they're worshipping Baalberith, yeah, a deity, a Babylonian, Egyptian, a deity of antiquity, yeah, of the ancient times. And it says here, the palm tree was a well-known symbol of victory. Okay, just like the Nike sign, Nike is the god of victory. So what they do is they regurgitate these deities of antiquity, of the ancient times, yeah? And the title Lord of the Palm Tree was apparently given to the pagan Messiah in accordance with the tradition of the primeval promise that the Messiah, the seed of the woman, should bruise the serpent's head or be victorious over the serpent that is the devil. Right, and you got to realize when you talk about the serpent, I'll do another. I've done a on street. I went in when I was on street doing my ministry. I went into the serpent and the dragon. So it all ties in. The serpent and the dragon goes back to the Roman Empire, the Greco-Roman Empire. These are the serpent and the dragon. And it goes way back to Genesis. That same spirit, what was in Genesis in the garden, is the same spirit what's in the Greco-Roman Empire. The deities, what they worship, are the deities of the heathens. Okay? And it says here, was apparently given to the pagan Messiah in accordance with the traditional or primeval promise that the Messiah, the seed of the woman, should bruise the serpent's head and be victorious over the serpent that is the devil. It's talking about Israel. In the end, we're going to be victorious over the serpent, the Roman Empire, the Greco-Roman Empire, because of the promise. You see, it goes back to the promise. The promise what was given to us through Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, the children of the promise. Okay, and it says here, the Christmas tree, as had been stated, was generally at Rome a different tree. Even the fir tree is like the evergreen. The evergreen is green all year round. That's why they used to worship it in pagan times, yeah? But the very same idea as was implied in the palm tree was implied in the Christmas fir. Okay, so the evergreen, we're talking about the evergreen here, that convertently symbolized the newborn god as Baalberith. Okay, Satan basically, yeah? Lord of the covenant, yeah? And thus shadowed forth the perpetuity of the everlasting nature of his power. All right, so basically what we're on Christmas, they're doing a mass ritual serving, pledging allegiance to Baalberith, a deity from the Babylonian Empire. That's why the Lord calls in Revelations America Babylon the Great. Okay? Why? Because they take on the customs of Babylon, of Egypt. So the tree was in Egypt. Why Egypt? Because Egyptos means bondage. They got the children of Israel in bondage. In America, that's where they was taken. The main country where the slaves was taken, blacks, Hispanics and Native Indians. Well, the Native Indians was there prior to that. That's where they sailed through the Barren Strait, through the Horn of Africa, to get to Azareth, what is named America today. Okay? And it says, moreover, the custom of the Christmas mistletoe branch has a familiar origin in the light reflected by the above statement on customs that still linger amongst us, the origin of which has been lost in the midst of hoar antiquity. Let the reader look at the similar customs still kept up on Christmas Eve for kissing under the mistletoe. Okay, so they still uphold all these customs, bar that mistletoe, bar in the Druidic superstition, which, as we have seen, was derived from Babylon. So you notice that a lot of the customs of the so-called white man, who calls himself the white man, who is the Edomite, he upholds these Babylonian, Egyptian, Greco-Roman. What he's done is incorporated all these societies of antiquity to culminate in his society. Okay? And it says, which, as we have seen, was derived from Babylon, was a representation of Messiah, the man, the branch. The mistletoe was regarded as a divine branch, a branch that came from heaven and grew upon a tree that sprang out of the earth, right? So this is all pagan worship. This is not actually substantiated, as they say. It's all mythology, yeah? What they've incorporated into these holidays, right? And it says here, engrafting of the celestial branch into the earthly tree, heaven and earth, right? The sin had severed were joined together, and thus the mistletoe bough, the kiss being the well-known token of pardon and reconciliation. So it is in P.S. Mercy and truth are met together, righteousness and peace have kissed each other. Okay? But what has all this to do with Christmas? Okay? To understand this, we must trace another winding in that labyrinth of error. The mystery of iniquity. And what is that? The Roman Empire. Tells you that in 2 Thessalonians. The mystery of iniquity doth already work until he be moved out the way. Right? Because the Greeks, Alexander and his freaky army and his freaky friends conquered the Romans, another Edomite nation. Okay? In Babylon and elsewhere has already shown the sun was an object of worship. That's why they go to church on a Sunday, Solar Victus, where the sun is at its highest peak. Yeah? See, everything of this society's, that's why anything this man does, stay away from. Because basically you're Baal worshipping, you're devil worshipping. You're worshipping a satanic entity, whether it be Jupiter, whether it be Persephone. You know, they've got all kind of different deities, baalberith, yeah? Anything you're doing, just don't participate, because basically you're worshipping Satan, yeah? And it says, object of worship, as one of the symbols of the seed of the woman. Woman doesn't carry seed, but when it says seed of woman, it's talking about Israel, because Israel is, in the Bible, the Lord is has said that Israel is a comely and delicate woman. I think that's Jeremiah 6:2. He's likened Israel to a comely and delicate woman. So it says here, by the provision of the word Zoroaster, Zoroaster, yeah, the seed of the woman, yeah, the seed of the woman, to signify to the uninitiated the seed of light, right? That's where you get the light bearers from, Lucifer, yeah, the light bearers, right? Or fire, or the sun. It was an essential principle of the Babylonian system, right? The Babylonians today are the so-called Ethiopians, Eritreans, and who's the other one? And the Somalians. These come under the Babylonians. They would tell you they're Cushites. Nimrod was a Cushite, a Cushite king, yeah? Nebuchadnezzar was a Cushite king, okay? So, everybody saying Happy Christmas is saying Happy Satan worship, yeah? So it says, and mainly women are into this. They can't get out of these deities because they're weak. They're the weaker vessel, yeah? But that's another topic. So here we go. It says, the Babylonian system, son, God. Then, therefore, Tammuz was worshipped as God incarnated. So Ramesses and Tammuz, that implied, that's a Babylonian, Babylonians, yeah? Implied also that he was an incarnation of the sun, okay? In the Hindu mythology, now we're talking about Elam, the so-called Indians today, you know, Pakistanis and Indians, yeah? Dot heads, we call them, yeah? In the Hindu mythology, because it's all myth, right? Which is admitted to be essentially Babylonian, right? This comes out very distinctively there. Sharia, or the sun, is represented as being incarnated and born for a purpose of subject. You can hear that satanic music they're playing in this church. You see that church there behind me? Yeah. Well, they got the star up in the window. The star of Baal, you see it there. And that's another thing when they put on the Christmas tree, that is the star of Baal, you see. This is what they do on Christmas. They worship Satan, you see. It's a satanic a ritual, yeah. So it says here, and born for the purpose of subduing the enemies of the gods. See, the other nations have gods, but the Israelites, the blacks, Hispanics and Native Indians, we have a God. All right, even though there is gods, but there is a deity above all other deities, and that's Yahweh, yeah. Then you got the one they call Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shai. He's under. Then you got the man, and then the woman, then the children, okay? Yeah, but you got heavenly order as well, celestial beings, where you got the angels, yeah? You got the heavenly power that sits on his throne, you got Yahweh Shai sits on his right hand, you got Satan sits on his left hand, and then you got deities either side of Satan and Yahweh Shai, the angels they call them, yeah? Whether good or evil. And it says here, the Hindu mythology, which is admitted to be distinctively there, sign of representing subduing the enemies of the gods, whose without such a birth could not have been subdued. And it says here, now the winter solstice, because we're in the winter solstice, we're going into the winter, right boss? We're in the winter, I ain't even got, I'm broke, you know. Let me see what I got here.
Bro, no
I got some.
What's up?
Yeah. Yeah. The winter solstice. The winter solstice, when the days begin again to lengthen, right? Because that's what they do. Remember, it tells you that this Satan, he tries to adjust the time because he has a short time. So he daylight hours, they call it. They say it's for the farmers, but he's just trying to defeat the prophecies, the Edomites that we're talking about. He's trying everything to try and outset the prophecies. Yeah. So it says here, now the winter solstice, when the days begin again to lengthen and the sun appears to enter upon a new course, was regarded as a fitting symbol of this birth, okay, or incarnation of the sun. Yeah. The 25th of December, right, that's what we're in 26 now. We just had Christmas yesterday, yeah? The 25th of December, accordingly, was held as the Natalis Evictus Solus. This is Latin, yeah? So you know it's a Romans, what we're dealing with. The birthday of the unconquered sun. So here we go. That's why when you see a lot of this, when you look at their music, when you look at the Edomites' music, they elevate, and any song they elevate with the sun in it. Yeah, it probably goes to #1. Check it out. If you type in the songs with the sun in it, and you'll see that they went to a high place in their sort of music charts, because this is what this man's about. He's about the worships of ancient gods. And mainly, their gods are women deities, okay? That's why the woman is elevated into a high positions in this man's kingdom, okay? And it says, and in pursuance of this idea, and it says, the Christmas festival of the sun god, identical with Nimrod, okay? Nimrod, we established, was a Babylonian king. He had a son, Ramesses, and his wife was Tammuz, or the other way around. Ramesses was his wife and Tammuz was his son. Okay. Nimrod to Tammuz and Adonis, and also with Bacchus. Bacchus is Christmas as well. Okay, the deities of Christmas. Bacchus was celebrated in ancient Babylon for ages before Christian era. And Bacchus was about Bacchus was like a holiday where everybody just started fucking each other, you know, homosexuals, and you know, it was just a sex ritual where you can just go around humping on anything, you know, animals, what you feel like, you know, like do as thou will, like this society set up, do as thou will. Yeah. And it says it is identical with the Saturnalia of Rome. Same thing. You know, the Romans are freaks, you know, the Greeks were freaks, the Romans are freaks, and today the Edomites, they call themselves white people, Americans, the Brits, the European Union, who are Edomites, they are freaks today. Look at their society. LGBTQZ, zoophilia, having sex with animals, that goes back to Rome, yeah, and Greek. They was into all them things, so there's nothing new. The Bible says there's nothing new under the sun, okay? And it says, and kept with similar scenes of drunkenness and revelry. Same thing. Drunkenness, that's what you do. You party, you get wasted, you end up with a carrot in your ass if you're around Esau, yeah? And it says, the wassailing bowl of Christmas of the Dark Ages in popish countries had its precise counterpart in the drunken festival of Babylon. See? So it all goes back to these so-called societies of antiquity, They're just keeping up with their Satan worshipping with Christmas and all that. There's nothing new under the sun, it says. A further confirmation and illustration of these facts is found in the custom of the Christmas Yule log that was set up to burn children alive. Yeah, sacrifice children on the Yule log. Yeah. The word Yule is a Chaldean term for an infant or little child. See? And it says, and hence it was that Christmas Day was called among the heathens Yule Day, or the Child's Day, and the night before Christmas, Mother Night. For ages before the birth of Yahushua Christ, and this entirely accounts for the putting of the Yule log into the fire on Christmas Eve, yeah? And the appearance of the Christmas tree next morning. A zero Ashtar, the seed of the woman, which name also signifies in Gene Gena, or born of the fire. He has to enter the fire on Mother's Night, that he may be born the next day out of it as the branch of God, or the tree that brings all divine gifts to men. That's why you got the tree, you put gifts under the tree. See, all this ties in with basically satanic worship. You're not worshipping the deity of Jesus Christ, Yahushua Mashiach. You're worshipping baalberith, all these ancient deities of antiquity, Satan, yeah? And it says, but why it may be asked, does he enter the fire under a symbol of a Yule log? To understand this, it must be remembered that the divine child born at winter solstice was born as a new incarnation of the great God. See, because winter solstice, it tells you that the Lord was born in this. Well, by extrapolating, you could find out, you could tell the Lord wasn't born in winter, because they was tending their flocks. You don't tend your flocks in the winter, you see. So it says, the winter solstice was born as a new incarnation of the great God. After that, God had been cut in pieces, yeah, on purpose to revenge his death upon his murderers. Okay, now the great God cut off in the midst of his power and glory was symbolized as a huge tree stripped of all its branches and cut almost to the ground. Yeah. Thus it says, thus he is represented in a Tyrian medal, of which an engraving is given to Mr. Hislop's work. From Morris's Indian Antiquities, a large trunk of a tree is shown cut off short, around which is entwining itself a serpent, right? While at its side appears a young palm tree sprouting from its roots. The great serpent, the symbol of the life restoring Pius, some Latin word, don't they? Twists itself around the dead stock. Just like you got the seduceus, you got the medical symbol where the serpent wraps itself around a blade or a knife or a sword, yeah? Around the dead stock. And lo, at its side up sprouts a young tree, a tree of entirely different kind, right? That's like saying a rebirth of another system, yeah? That is defined, disdained, never to be cut down by a hostile power, even the palm tree. The well-known symbol of victory. The Yule log is the dead stock of of victory. The Yule log is the dead stock of Nimrod, defined as the sun god, but cut down by his enemies. The Christmas tree is Nimrod, divinus, the slain god come to life again. Okay, so every time you're worshipping Christmas and you've got a tree in your house, it's like the rebirth of Nimrod. You're reincarnating him in the spirit, right? So what it is, I call it idolatry, right? This society is set up off idolatry, yeah. And it says another allusion of this mythological tradition is found in the story told by the Roman poet Ovid of the mother of Adonis being changed at the moment of giving him birth into a tree, as Adonis, the child, was symbolized as the branch. His mother is keeping with the symbol must needs have been represented as a tree, because a tree represents growth and life, yeah? Because you start small and you sprout into like a child is a baby, then it grows up into a so-called, goes through adolescence and then becomes an adult, yeah? It's like a tree symbolizes this symbology, yeah? Right, and it says, such then was the true origin of the Christmas tree, yeah? And so deeply hidden and so widely reaffirmed were the roots of that mystery of iniquity in which it had its source. The mystery of iniquity we already established is the Roman Empire, because they carry on the so-called worship of the ancient deities, right? In still further confirmation of the deity of the Babylonian festival, which that introduced into the Christian church by the craft of Rome. See, so Rome introduced that into the so-called Christian church. But that was one of us, Constantine. He introduced all these pagan worships to bring all the people together. And all what Esau's doing is following on, you know, the melting pot they call it, yeah? To bring everybody under one jurisdiction, one deity, and that's Satan, okay? It's not the true God of the Bible, because the true God of the Bible only has one people he loves. The rest of the people are supposed to serve his chosen people, and they're gonna, when the real deity, yeah, not baalberith, when Yahweh Mashiach makes his appearance on the earth, yeah, when he comes in his glory and all his chariots and all the holy angels with him, yeah? And it says, in still further confirmation, the deity of the festival of Rome, it may be here observed that several other Christmas customs are traceable to Babylon, right? Hence again, that's why America's called Babylon the Great, right? And it says, the boar's head served at dinner, and you're not even supposed to eat nut and swine, because a boar is a pig. Basically, it's in the pig family. So you're going off again. They're going off again. But you got to realize these so-called Edomites, they're contrary. They do everything contrary to what the Bible and what God and Yahweh Shai Yahweh, Yahweh Shai says, God and Christ. They were set up to be the adversary, the enemy of God. Yeah? The boar's head served at dinner at the season is Babylonian. The boar was sacrificed to Adonis or Tammuz, right? The sun god. And its head served up at his festival because Adonis, the same, be it remembered as Nimrod, regurgitating, reincarnating spiritually, was said to have been killed by a tusk of a boar. The goddess Adina, that's another one, right? The goddess Dinah, that goes back to women worship, like the man, Edomite man worships the woman. All his deities and all his worship comes from Babylonian principles. Egyptian, as we said, ancient deities. It says here, Dinah was in reality identical with Sybil, yeah, and Rhea, and her attributes under the form of Ephesians. Diana, yeah, was worshipped as the mother goddess, just like today. They call them divas, yeah. They put women in every single. We go and watch the programs when there's any sports. Women are at the helm of it. They elevate the women. The Edomites we're talking about, the so-called white man, he elevates the woman into positions she's not supposed to be. Okay. But that's why we realise what kind of rulership we're under. We're under the so-called Babylonian rulership. Yeah, the Edomites. Yeah, the last. They said the Edomites would be the last kingdom before the coming of the one they call Jesus Christ, and Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Yeah, and it says now this deity was no other than Semiramis deified, though there is a confusion in the Babylonian mythology between Semiramis and Eve. Each beginning in the sense regarded as the mother of the child, right? But we never, the Lord never worked them. Yahweh Shai never deified the woman. This come when the Romans, the so-called Edomites, they come into power. Yeah, even though it goes back to the ancient worlds, the Greeks. The Babylonians and the Egyptians were woman worshippers. So all it is the so-called white man is regurgitating all these deities, Semiramis, Tammuz, Persephone, all these so-called women deities, yeah? And it says, the Babylonian myth between Semiramis and Eve had each been, in a sense, regarded as the mother of the child, and Diana accordingly is frequently represented with the boar's head as her accompaniment. In token not merely of success in the chase, but of her triumph over the traditional destroyer of her son. Yeah. The boar was also sacrificed to Venus, another. See, these deities are women deities. That's why woman is elevated in this society. What was that woman? What was it? The tennis women. The women, when they go to Wimbledon, they got an actual trophy, and it's called the Venus dish. Yeah. So they worship ancient deities. Venus Williams won it. Her sister won it, and all other crackers have won that Venus dish. Check it out. Yeah. Goes back to woman worship, and it shares. same Rome formed the festival of Saturnalia, which was a Roman Christmas, right? And we're under the Romans today. So what are they going to do? Talk about Christmas tree, one on the deck, yeah? So we're under the Romans today. So what are they going to do? They're going to regurgitate their customs, yeah? They satanic customs, yeah? And it says, which was a Roman Christmas, Saturn being identical with Nimrod, Tammuz and or Adonis. In like manner, the continental Saxons offered a boar on Christmas Day to the sun, Solar Victus again, sun worship, worshipped by them as a goddess, to appropriate her for the loss of her beloved Adonis, Malik says. So all these deities, Christmas is going back to ancient Babylonian, Egyptian gods. So when you got your Christmas tree and you got your family round, you're doing a seance. Well, not a seance, you're doing an actual Babylonian worship, yeah, to Satan. Basically, you're worshipping Satan, yeah. So all these people on December the 5th done a big satanic ritual, yeah, to try and incarnate all these ancient deities, yeah, putting a tree in your house, evergreen, Semiramis, Tammuz, Nimrod, Adonis, and so forth and so on, yeah. And it says, in like manner, a Christmas day the sun, worshipped by them as goddess, as a goddess, not a god, a goddess. See, women worship, yeah? To appropriate her for the loss of her beloved Adonis. Malik says, they offered the largest log they could get to Frigga. I think that's a Nordic queen, Frigga, the mother of Balder, the lamented one. Or similar custom prevailed also in Egypt in honor of Osiris, the Egyptian Bacchus and Adonis. See, so they're just regurgitating all these so-called gods of the ancient world, of antiquity. So also the Christmas goose in Egypt. The goose was the favorite offering to Osiris, and it could not be eaten except in the depth of winter. Juvenal, the Rome poet, says that Osiris, if offended, could be pacified only by a large goose and a thin cake at Rome. See, these pagan mythological deities, yeah. So basically these people are worshipping a myth, a satanic myth of just right, but everything has a spirit to it, yeah. And that's what our people, the Israelites, don't realize. When they're partaking in these customs, they're actually partaking in a mass ritual for Satan, yeah. I can't keep reiterating that, yeah. Christmas is totally satanic. That's what it is, yeah. And it says at Rome, it was by the crackling of the sacred geese of Juno, Satan deities, yeah, kept in the capital, that the city was saved from the night attack of the Gauls, yeah. But Juno was another form of the Queen of Heaven. Like I keep saying, these deities, I've got a Greek book at home, and majority of these deities are women. That's why I keep saying they elevate the woman in this society. We're talking about Babylonian, Egyptian, and Greek, Greco-Roman deities. Yeah. So this is how we know we're under the so-called Greco-Roman Empire, because of the deities, the stuff they partake in. Yeah. And it says, and the mother of the church, says here, the Queen of Heaven and the mother of the child. In Asia Minor, the goose was a symbol of Cupid, the child of the mother under the name of Venus, just as it was a symbol of Seb, the father of the gods, and so in identical with Saturn or Nimrod. In India, the goose is sacred to Brahma, the Hindu father of gods. Yeah. But why was the goose thus sacred to these deities? A symbol, a symbolical meaning was attached to this bird, the goose, says Wilkinson, signified in hieroglyphs his child or son. It was chosen to denote a son from its I lost my little place here. I'm trying to walk. It's then denotes a son from its love to its young being, always ready to give itself up to the chauffeur in order that they might be preserved, for which reason the Egyptians thought it right to serve this animal. Okay, well, that's why you get the term the golden goose. Yeah, what lays golden eggs. Yeah. Here then, the true meaning of the symbol of its the symbol is a son whom voluntarily gives himself up as a sacrifice for those he loves. Yule log, sacrificing children. Via the pagan Messiah, it is then abundantly clear why the goose was sacrificed and eaten at Christmas. The ancient heathen Christmas, in honor of the Babylonian false Messiah, whose birth was celebrated at that season. Okay, the 25th, yeah? 25th of December, yeah? The modern Christmas turkey was seen to be merely a more delicate and luxurious substitute for Christmas goose, okay? The Yule cakes, in like manner, or Christmas cakes, Christmas pudding, yeah, still made in Scotland, and at least remembered in England also, are derived from Babylonian customs and worships, like we keep saying, spiritual Babylon and Egypt. That's why the Bible is on point. Okay, you won't find this in the Keber Negras, the Book of the Dead, yeah, the Bhagavad Gita and all these other books, yeah? It's all in the Bible. The words of Yahweh Yahweh Shai, yeah? And it says, the cakes then made are called in Scotland Yule cakes or birth cakes. And in the north of England, old people still remember that in their childhood they used to receive presents on Christmas Day of cakes, sweet meats, and an orange. Alright. The cakes were made with the figure of a bird upon each, the tail straight and long, touching the cake with its tip. Yeah? That's why these so-called elites are into symbology and numerism, yeah? Now, this bird, together with the orange, form a double link of connection between these cakes and Juno, the Babylonian queen of heaven. And we got hot cross buns is another one what they do to the queen of heaven, yeah. And by consequence, with her son, the Babylonian Messiah. Man, this is long. I can go on and on. Oh, let's might as well finish because it's coming to the end here. It says here, either way, whether it were the dove or cuckoo, here we have in the new cakes or birth cakes of Scotland, and in the Yule cakes of England, a note of connection identifying the Christmas season of modern days with the birth festival of the Babylonian false Messiah. So that's what they're worshipping on Christmas, the Babylonian false Messiah. Yeah? There is yet another curious proof of the same thing in the name still given in Scotland to the last day of the year. And it says that name is hegemony. The term hog is the Chaldean word signifying a feast. Many signifies numbered, that is akin to meme. The first word of the divine message of judgment written on the wall of the terrified Nebuchadnezzar banqueting hell hall. Hogmanay. Therefore, sorry, I'm walking and trying to get my bearings. Therefore means the feast of the numbered. That is the feast of the Babylonian Messiah, regarded as the sun deity. Yeah? The reason, which today is Sunday as it goes, the reason why this time was selected is obvious. It is a winter solstice when the sun seems to begin a new course of motion, and so to speak, to enter a new life, the time from which the days of the new year begin. So, right, because what it is, the new year doesn't begin in the winter. This man has turned everything upside down. The new year starts in the spring when everything becomes new. Okay, but what it is, he does it by solstice, whether it be winter, summer. He goes on the solstices, yeah. And it says, and it says, the time from which the days of the new year begin to be numbered, the season was a time of festivity at Babylon, right? Festivity at Babylon, yeah? As it is at the present day in Scotland and in England and everywhere you go, because this man's philosophies have been spread around the whole world now, yeah? And is the present day in Scotland a drunken festival at Babylon, the Saturnalia at Rome, and the Christmas pompish reveals of the Middle Ages were all identical in origin, regurgitating, meaning the character, though the custom has been kept up for after both its origin and its meaning had for ages fallen into oblivion. But the white man come and regurgitated everything, yeah, when he come into power. Because, well, like I said, he has no origin. So what he's done, he looks at the archives of the ancient deities and said, let's build our society off of these ancient deities, yeah? Because he's the devil himself, isn't it? Reincarnated on the earth, the so-called crackers, the Edomites. Is then the observance, it is then the observance of Christmas, a thing of Babylonian and heathen origin. Now, whatever may be the propriety of commemorating the Saviour's nativity, it is certain that the time of his birth was not the 25th of December, nor any time later in the year than October. Of the shepherds in Palestine never kept watch over the flocks by night after that time on account of the coldness of the nights, nor is it likely that the depth of winter would be appointed for the taxing or census of the people, when women and children would in many cases have long journeys to make and to and from their respective cities, right? So even the historians are throwing cold water, I should say, on this Christmas bullshit, yeah? Moreover, no such festival as Christmas was ever heard of in the Christian church till the 3rd century, right? Babylonian customs. Christmas is Satan worship, that's what he's saying, yeah? And why the Edomites? Because they're children of Satan, yeah? And it says, nor was it much observed in the church till the 4th century. But among the heathen, a festival had been celebrated from the time memorial in honor of the birth of the son of the Babylonian Queen of Heaven on the 25th of December. Like we said, you're worshipping the Babylonian king. And to meet them halfway according to the celebrated policy of Pope Gregory, in order to swell the number. Basically, they bought it so they could bring everybody into the church. They made Christmas up, yeah? The normal converts to Christianity. That this festival was adopted by the missionaries of Rome, both in Britain and elsewhere, to adapt to the nativity of Christ. The only change that was made being change of names. It was called Christmas, yeah? That is the mass said in honor of Christ. Instead, the Yule Day, the Child Day, or the birthday. So what they're doing, and on that day they're doing a sacrifice of a child, definitely, yeah? Of the Son. Instead, the Yule Child Day, or the birthday of the Son, or as among the Arabs, the birthday of the Lord Moon. See, even the Arabs have got, everybody worships their little, every heathen has got their own deities what they worship. But we worship the true living God, Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai, yeah, the gods. Our God is Yahweh Shai, and his God is the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, yeah? So we worship him. So he goes to the Heavenly Father to take our case, you know. And it says here, as among the Arabs, the birthday of the sun, or as among the Arabs, the birthday of the Lord Moon. For on the 24th day of the 10th month, or December, the Arabians celebrated the birthday of the Lord. That is the moon. So everybody's doing their own special deity worship, like Christmas, the sun worship, you know. The Arabs, they worship the moon, and the white people worship Satan. You know what I mean? That's their deity, yeah? And it says here, the Lord Moon was but another title of the same deity who was otherwise represented as the sun-aged. Right, so there you have it, man. A whole rundown on Christmas, man. The Babylonian origin of Christmas by Henry Shepherd. Right, and Henry Shepherd is not no goddamn black man. This is a cracker, telling you, yeah? So I'm going to say, call hello, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. I'm at my destiny, yeah? And it stopped. See, that's the spirit. Just as I come to my destiny, just round the journey, the actual article come to an end. So I'm going to say, call hello, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Ba'ashim Rikah Kadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and salutation to the Akim pushing this word and truth and sincerity. This satanic day Christmas is over, and hopefully we won't go through a lot more of these satanic days. The Lord is on his way anyway, so let's hope the Lord comes, hasten the coming, as the Apostle Tahar said, hasten the coming of the Lord. So Kwam Yasharallah and Wa Baba Bo. Destruction to Babylon. Shalom.